step by step you are solving a given problem. That's what I will call it as algorithm. A behavior, characteristics, properties. What is that? What is that I should have in the algorithm? I'm just trying to write an algorithm to calculate or to perform the addition of two numbers. If you are representing the algorithm, whatever I have, so in a pictorial form, so that is what I will call it as a flowchart. Provide an excellent mean of communication, mainly flowchart in the sense it helps us to communicate what exactly you're trying to communicate. Hello everyone, I welcome all of you to the third session on the introduction. So what is that I'm discussing? Which subject? So please understand computer concepts and C programming. So for B.C.A students, unit 1. So I welcome all of you to the third session. So hope all of you have seen the previous videos what I have done. Suppose if you have not seen, I will not be doing the next videos. So my dear students, it's a humble request from my side. So go back to the videos, previous videos, what I have done and check what is that I have done in the previous videos. Because the continuation of those videos, what I am discussing in today's class. Alright, so fine. If you have not watched, anyway, you are my students. So I will give you a small recap before I get into this today's topic. So, and then I will start the topic. Alright, so what is that I have in the recap of first session and the second session? Let's have a quick recap. So, so we have discussed what exactly the software is all about. Software andre ಏನು. So, after that, we have discussed the types of softwares. What is that we have discussed? The types of softwares is what we have discussed in the session 1. Along with that, we also discussed the programming languages like MLL, machine level language, ALL and HLL, high level language. This is what I have discussed in the session 1. In the session 2, I have discussed what exactly program development life cycle. So please make a note of it. So if you want to check program development life cycle, so you have to go to the second session. You have to go to the second session. What exactly program development life cycle? We also call this as software development life cycle. So in this topic, I have discussed how exactly we develop the software. So yav phase alli enen martivi. So requirement heg collect madkotivi, feasibility analysis heg martivi. So hege navu design na convert madkotivi, requirements na designing heg convert madkotivi, design in the coding heg convert martivi. Coding in the now testing ಮತ್ತೆ debugging ಹೇಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. So testing ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Then after that, ಎಷ್ಟು ತರ documentations ಇದೆ. How do we do the maintenance? All these things I have discussed in detail in the program development life cycle, that too in the session 2. So fine, I have discussed this. What is that we are going to do or discuss in today's session? So let's check. So guys, I will be discussing what exactly algorithm is all about. So I'll not give you a boring lecture on this. So I will just keep it very crisp and precise. What exactly algorithm is all about. And also I will discuss analysis of algorithm. So fine, after that I have one more important topic, that is flowchart and importance of flowchart. This is what I'm going to discuss with all of you in today's session, my dear students. So let's start without wasting much of your time. So what is that I have? What exactly algorithm is all about? If I say algorithm, that word, the first thing that it should come to your mind, that is step by step. What is that? It should come to your mind. Step by step, you are solving a procedure to solve a given problem. Step by step, you are solving a given problem. That's what I will call it as algorithm. Sir, yen sir hingandre ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ನ ನಾನು ಹೇಗೆ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಬೈ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೇ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ನಾನು ಒಂದು ಶರ್ಟ್ ನಾನು ನಾಳೆ ಹಾಕೋಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ದಟ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್. ಏನ್ ಸರ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಂಗೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳೇಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ದಟ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್. Okay, so how do I solve this problem? Let's take this example and let's understand. So first ನಾನು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? So I have to select what is the shirt that I have to wear for tomorrow. That is the first step. Second step, so shirt tagondaytu. So shirt tagondadmele I have to check whether it is pressed it properly or not, whether it is ironed or not. So I have to check. That is the second step. So fine, it is not ironed. Okay, it is not pressed. So third step, so press madi, neatag iron madi. So fourth step, keep it in the hanger for tomorrow. Okay, so the shirt is ready. ನಾನು ಒಂದೇ ಸತಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಬೈ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ನಾನು ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದೆ ಆ one particular ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ನ. ಸೊ ಅದೇ ಥರ even in the software also, so if you are solving a problem, you will be solving that step by step. So that is what I will call it as algorithm. That is what I will call it as algorithm. So fine, the word algorithm, let's understand something interesting today. What is that? The word algorithm originates from the word algorithm. What exactly it means? So please understand, it means process of doing arithmetic. Please understand, process of doing arithmetic with algebraic numerals. You are doing something with arithmetic and algebraic means anta artha. So that is what you need to understand. Even if you don't remember this, please don't forget this. This is very, very important. This is the definition for algorithm. This is the definition for algorithm. Don't forget this. What is that? You are trying to solve a given particular problem with a step-by-step procedure. So that's what you need to remember with respect to algorithm. So fine, what is the characteristics of algorithm? One algorithm na tagondre yenella adralli irbeku, a behavior, characteristics, properties. What is that? What is that I should have in the algorithm? The first one, the thing that you should never forget, that is input. Input specifies ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು algorithm ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ it should have 0 or more than 0 input you should have. ಏನಂತ ಅರ್ಥ? So you can also have, there will be no input sometimes. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೇನೂ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ you can have many inputs. So that is what you should have for each and every algorithm. First of all, you should have the input category. So ಆ input category ನಿಮಗೆ 0 inputs ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ inputs ಇರ್ಬೋದು. So that is what you need to understand. For each and every algorithm, you should have this. So fine. What is the next one? The second characteristic is definite. What is that definite in the sense? What is the meaning of it? ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು statements na, if you take any statements in the algorithm, it should be precise. It should be precise and there should not be any ambiguity. Ambiguity in the sense what? There should not be any confusion. ಒಂದು statement na ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ, so it should not create any ambiguity. There should not be any confusion. So that is what I will call it as definite. So ಈ characteristics ನಿಮ್ಮ algorithm ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಕು. What is the third one that we have? Effective. Effective in the sense what? Each and every statement what you have in your algorithm, it should be feasible. That's what you need to understand with respect to effectiveness. What is that I have next? Terminate. So each and every algorithm should have the termination point. Yellow one kade, it should stop its execution. So it should not go for the infinite loop. So that is what you have to remember. And the last one, you will have minimum one output of this algorithm. ಏನೇನಿರಬೇಕು ಒಂದು ಆಲ್ಗರಿದಮ್ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಸಮ್ಮರೈಸ್ ಇಟ್, ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಮೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ವೆರಿ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಯು. ಒಂದು ಆಲ್ಗರಿದಮ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಏನಿರ್ಬೇಕಪ್ಪ? ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್, ನನಗೆ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು ಸರ್. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಒನ್, ಇಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್. ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆಂಬಿಗ್ಯೂಟಿ ಇರಬಾರ್ದು. ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಇರಬಾರ್ದು. ಅಳಿ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅತ್ತೆ ಮಗ ಅಂತ ಬರೆಯೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ನಾನು. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಬರೀಬೇಕು ಏನು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ. Alright, so that is what I will call it as definite. The third one that I have, effective, feasible statement na nan baribeko. The next one that I have is terminate. Yellow one kade nan execution stop agbeku, complete agbeku. The last one, I should have some output from that algorithm. So this should be the characteristics of a good algorithm. So fine, we understood the characteristics, we understood the definition. So what next? Let's understand, let's take a simple example to understand what exactly algorithm is and how exactly it looks like. I'm just trying to write an algorithm to calculate or to perform the addition of two numbers. On two addition of two numbers na hege now algorithm baritivi. How to do that? How to write that? Let's understand. So first thing, I have already told you in the definition, it should be a step by step. So that's why. So please remember always I'm doing it with a step by step. That is the first thing that you have to observe. Okay. So I always starts with a step one. Step one, always in all the algorithms, step one will be start. Step one will be start. So fine. By closing your eyes, step one start and the baradu bidtira. Step two, what is that you will do if you have any inputs? So step two, yen inputs idre, ella inputs no, you will read. So that should be the step two. So what is that I'm doing here? Input A, comma B. Input A, comma B. I'm reading the values for A and B. So fine. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ, I need to perform the addition of two numbers, right? So ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ, C is equal to A plus B ಅಂತ perform ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ ಈ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಫೈನ್, ಅಡಿಷನ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀನಿ, ನನ್ಗೆ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಸಿ. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್? ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಸಿ, ದ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ ಸಿ ಯು ಆರ್ ಟ್ರೈಂಗ್ ಟು print. Last step is stop. Step 5, stop. This is how I will be writing the algorithms. I will be solving the problems step by step. That's what you need to understand. The simple basic example with respect to algorithm. The advantages of algorithm. Why should I use algorithm? Let's understand this. So guys, very easy to understand. If I write any algorithm, so it will be very easy to understand what exactly the problem statement is all about. What is the next one that I have? I have definite procedure. There is no ambiguity. There is no ambiguity. That is what you need to understand. Definite procedure. Yavade one statement nan bardre, yavade one step bardre, it will be very, very clear. It will be very easy to understand. So that is one more advantage that I have. And it is independent. It is not dependent on anything, and it is very easy to debug. So that is the advantages that I have if I am using the algorithm. So probably by now you got the fair idea about the algorithm. In the same way, I have some of the disadvantage. Yes, sir, disadvantage. It's very time consuming. It consumes a lot of time if you are writing the algorithm. So that is the first disadvantage that you have when you are writing the algorithm. So fine, what is the next point that I have? So an algorithm is developed first. Please understand, algorithm is developed first, which is converted into a flow chart. First algorithm na ನಾವು ಬರೆದು, so ಆಮೇಲೆ ಆ algorithm na reference ಆಗಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು, so we write the flow chart. So flow chart, and then you are converting the flow chart into a computer program. So this is going to be a time consuming, and it is an extra burden. So that is why they call it as a drawback. That's why they call it as a drawback. So this is what they call it as a disadvantage of algorithm, is what they say. Moving on to the next important topic, that is flowchart. What exactly the flowchart is all about? If you are representing the algorithm, whatever I have, so in a pictorial form, so that is what I will call it as a flowchart. That's what I will call it as flowchart. Nan algorithm bardidinalva sir, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 anta nan algorithm na bardidini. So we are converting that algorithm into a pictorial representation. That is what I will call it as a flowchart. So let's understand this. A flowchart plays an important role in the programming of a problem and helpful in understanding the logic of a program. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ ನನಗೆ ಈ ಫ್ಲೋ ಚಾರ್ಟ್ ಬೇಕು? ಸೊ ಫ್ಲೋ ಚಾರ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ರೋಲ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ದ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನ್. Understand the flow of execution. That is the first point. The second point is there will not be any ambiguity. ನಿಮಗೆ ambiguity ಇರಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ confusions ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So you will understand the requirement very clearly. So that is the second point that you should understand. And the more important point that you need to understand is, so you will understand the logic of the program very clearly. So this is the advantages that we have whenever we are having the flowchart with us. So fine, let's understand this in detail. When I have flowchart, I have two different types of flowchart. The first one is program flowchart. What is the first one that we have? Program flowchart. Yeah, what is that? if I call the program flowchart, what is the use of it? What exactly it is? Let's understand this. Present a diagrammatic representation. It presents a diagrammatic representation of a sequence of instructions. It presents a diagrammatic representation of sequence of instructions. Sequence ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? One by one. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನೇನು instructions ಇರುತ್ತೆ one by one ಅದರದ್ದು diagrammatic representation ನ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. So that is what I will call it as a program flowchart. I have one more flowchart. So that is system flowchart. System flowchart alli hengagutte. What is that? Why do I use system flowchart? So it will depict or it will show you how the data is flowing from one part to another part, from one phase to another phase. So that is what you will understand. Here you will get more emphasis or more importance on the flow of data. The flow of data throughout the data processing system. But ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಂಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ, sequence of instructions ಗೆ main importance ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. But when it comes to this type of flowchart, data flow ಗೆ importance ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ. That's what you need to highlight and you need to remember. So fine, we understood the different types of flowcharts. So what next? ಬೇರೆ ಏನಿದೆ? Let's understand this importance of flowchart. ಯಾಕೆ ನಾನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು? Why should I have this flowchart? So the first point that we need to understand is it's very easy to communicate. There is no ambiguity. The first point, effective analysis. Correct agi neat agi analyze ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ, so we use the flowchart. And the next one is proper documentation. Proper documentation ಗೆ we use the flowcharts. Diagrammatical representations we will have in our documentation, which will help us for the future references. So fine. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಕೋಡಿಂಗ್. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಕೋಡಿಂಗ್? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ನಾವು ಫ್ಲೋ ಚಾರ್ಟ್ ನ ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡೆ ನಾವು ಕೋಡಿಂಗ್ ನ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ರೀಸನ್. ಸೊ ವಿ ಯೂಸ್ ದ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಕೋಡಿಂಗ್. ಸೊ ವಿ ಯೂಸ್ ದ ಫ್ಲೋ ಚಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಕೋಡಿಂಗ್. ಆಲ್ರೈಟ್, we have proper debugs. ಏನಾದರೂ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಟು ನೋ ಇನ್ ದ ಅರ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಇಟ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್. ಸೊ errors na identify ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ, so we will be using the flow chart again. So then the last important point is efficient program maintenance. So because of all these reasons, we are using the flow charts, my dear students. This is what you need to understand. So what is the next important thing that I should understand? ಬೇರೆ ಏನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. So you have to understand this. I will just move out of the frame. So I want all of you to take the screenshot of this particular slide, which is very, very important when it comes to the concept of flowchart. What is that I have? I have symbols used in flowchart. We also call it as notations used in flowchart. So hope you have taken the screenshot. So yes, I will move in. What is that I have first? I have the first symbol. So I will be using this symbol. Generally, we call it as oval shape. All right. So most of you will be writing like this. All right. So why should I use oval shape? Whenever I'm using this shape, you need to understand that I'm using this shape for start or end. We also call it as stop or start. Okay. Stop or start. Okay. So for both the things, I will be using this shape. I will be using this shape to depict start or end. So that is what you need to understand. So second one that I have is parallelogram. Okay, this is what I will call it as parallelogram. Why do I use parallelogram? Whenever, please understand, whenever I'm taking any input or I'm producing any output in the flow chart, I should depict with the help of parallelogram. With the help of parallelogram. So fine. The next one that I have is rectangle. If you are performing any action, if you are performing any task, okay, you have to use this symbol, that is rectangle. Any action, any process, any calculations, anything that you are doing, so you will be using the symbol called rectangle. That is what you have to remember. The next one that we have to understand here is, so my dear students, we have something called rhombus. Why do we have this rhombus? Rhombus is a symbol that we use to represent the condition. If you are using any condition, if you're checking any condition, so you have to depict or you have to use this symbol. You have to use this symbol. So we also call this as decision or branching. We also call this as decision or branching. So the next one that we have is predefined process. If I am using this symbol, you have to understand that that is a subprogram. That is a subprogram. So fine. The next one that we have is connector. So we will be using this for a connector. So guys, and the most important thing that you have to remember is this arrow marks. So this arrow marks shows you the control flow and the data flow. In which direction the control is flowing and the data is flowing will be depicted with the help of this arrow marks. So I hope you understood whatever the notations that we have in this table. So I wanted to have an example so that you will be able to understand it much better. So let's take an example and understand. I want to write a flow chart for to calculate the area and circumference of a circle, right? So that's the question that I have here. So to calculate the area of circle and circumference, guys, what is that I have? So I need to write the flowchart to find the area and circumference of a circle. I'm sorry. All right. So for this, I have to write the flowchart. How do I write? So first thing, what is that we discussed? So here in this diagram, I have shown you. So you have to use the oval shape. So to write start or stop. So first of all, you should start your flowchart with the start. So fine. If I want to start, I have to use which symbol? I have to use oval. That's what I've used. So fine. Once it is done, so you have to show the flow control in which direction it is going. So fine. That's why I'm using the arrow. Please understand this is where I'm using the arrow. So fine. I understood. So here I need to use the parallelogram. Why should I need to use the parallelogram? Because I need to read the input. If you are reading any input, so make sure that you will be using the parallelogram. So fine, you understood how to start and how to read the input. So what next? Please understand I'm performing some calculation here. So what is the formula to calculate the area? So you all know that pi r square. You all know that pi r square is the formula. So you are calculating. All right, pi in the sense 3.1413 into, so radius, this is what you have taken the input from the user. So you are trying to calculate that. You're trying to calculate that. So fine, that is the area that you're trying to calculate. Then what next? I have circumference of a circle. What is the formula? So 2 into pi r. So 2 into pi r. So that's what they've given. I'm just performing some calculations here. That's not my cup of tea here, but what is that you need to observe here is ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ನಾನು ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ನಾನು ಏನಾದರೂ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಸಿಂಬಲ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಯೂಸ್ ದ rectangle. So please understand that's what we have done here. That's what we have done here. You got it? So fine. In the same way, ನನಗೆ area ಇದೆ, so I need to print the area and circumference. Okay, if you want, you can also write circumference. I need to print this output again. Input yav symbol use madirtira, other symbol output, then stop. So this is how we write the flowchart. This is how we write the flowchart. That's what you need to understand, my dear students. So hope you got an example of flowchart. Then what do I have? Advantages of flowchart. Why should I have this flowchart? There are some of the advantages which we have already discussed. So let's recap one more time. Provide an excellent mean of communication. Mainly flowchart in the sense it helps us to communicate what exactly you're trying to communicate. That is the first thing. Okay. The second one, it is easy to convert into a program. If I have the flowchart, it's very simple for me to convert that into program. That is the second advantage that I have. And independent of programming language, you don't have to worry, in which language that I have to write the flowchart. So it is totally independent. You can write it generally using the English kind of statements, and with the notations, you can write the flowchart, and it is independent of programming languages. All right. So that is one more thing. And it is easy to debug. If there is any errors, it is very simple to debug. That is the most advantages that I have. In the same way, I have some of the disadvantages also. All right. With respect to the flowchart, let's look into it. What exactly that I have? So it is time consuming. That is the major thing that I would like to point out at this point of time. What is that? It is time consuming. It requires a use of several symbols which is properly represented. So if I use a wrong symbol, so definitely it will change the meaning of the entire scenario. So that is one of the major drawback that I have. And representation of complex logic is quite difficult. Complex logics idre nanage flowchart use madkondo to represent that logic will be very, very difficult. So that is one more drawback that I have. And one more thing, if I want to change anything in the flowchart, I have to do the alterations, I have to erase that, I have to do the modifications, and then only I will be able to do that. Again, it is very tedious and difficult task. All these things are the drawbacks or the disadvantages that I have with respect to flowchart. So fine, by this I have come to an end of this session, my dear darlings. So hope you have seen all the 3 sessions. All right, so very soon I will be starting the concept of a raw C programming, probably in the coming sessions. So I will be showing practically how to implement this language. So until then, I want all of you to take care of your health and take care of your family. So I will meet you in the next session. Take care. Bye-bye.